Hey, great to see you again. Let's talk about something that's really important for you in your life, and it's called journaling. I know you've heard this from your mom, your dad, your grandpa, your grandma. You probably have heard it a million times, but maybe you don't understand the impact that journaling makes in your life. A person who journals becomes a better problem solver. And you know what you have in your life? Problems. You got big problems, challenges, struggles. And when you got problems and challenges and struggles and you can't figure them out, you're attempting to sort it out inside of your head. I know that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to sort it out inside your head. And because you keep trying to sort it out in your head and you can't make sense of it, your problems and challenges and struggles are just stacking up on each other. That's why you journal. Journaling is an outlet. Journaling is a process to be able to take your thoughts and put them onto the paper so you can see what you're thinking. It's really difficult to be able to solve or fix or find something when your head's just swimming with so many different thoughts and what's going on. So I've got some best practices for you when it comes to journaling. But really, as I mentor other people, I find that those who journal solve problems in a shorter amount of time. And those who don't journal tend to be more confused. They tend to be more confused. And so you decide what path you want to go down, and I'll just be the next person in your life to talk about how important journaling is, and maybe someday it'll dawn on you that it's time to start journaling. But let me give you some insight. When you get into journaling, here's a couple things I want you to pay attention to. The first one is to write down your thoughts and feelings. Because something that causes confusion in our life is all of our thoughts and all of our feelings tend to, on the inside, get all mixed together. And when they get mixed together, we can't sort them out very well. And when we can't sort it out, that causes extra problems because sometimes we unload them on our kids or our friends, or sometimes we bottle up our thoughts and feelings so much that it actually weighs on us on the inside and can put you into a level of depression. Depression's real. And depression can sneak up on you because those thoughts and feelings are just stored inside and they stack up until they weigh on you and now you can't even think. And you just feel heavy. So journaling helps you lighten up and help you get that out of you onto a book, a pad of paper, that now you can start to notice how you're thinking and feeling. Next thing is to write down some events. You know, as you go to write in your journal about your thoughts and feelings, there's more than likely you're going to write down some experiences between you and other people or something that happened. But write down some events, some things that are going on in your life. The reason why is as you go back to review your journal to see the distance you've come, those events will help remind you of what it is that you were going through at that time in your life. It'll just help put literally some markers along your life, like flags on the path. Because when you start journaling, you're going to notice how much you're able to improve. And when you go back and read your journals, you'll start to recognize that you're changing and growing and doing better. But when you don't include events, what happens is you could forget what it was like. You could forget what was going on in that time of your life. So add some events. Next one, to be able to have some of the best journaling experiences, is write down your struggles. I notice that people tend to want to keep those secret and not actually put them out there somewhere in a journal. But what happens is if you don't write down your struggles, you probably don't even know really what you're struggling with. Now, your journal, you don't have to go share your journal with people. Nobody ever has to read your journal. This is just between you and yourself. in sorting out your life. And so when you go to write down your struggles and you actually start to put it into words, what's happening to you in your life, you can begin to start to make sense of it. But I noticed this, when somebody doesn't want to recognize their struggle, it's tough to recognize the solutions for the struggle. If we don't admit we have a challenge, how are we ever going to find the answers? And a journal is a great place to put that struggle. Now, when I go back and look in my journal and I see the different struggles that I've been going through, sometimes I see the struggle and I read a struggle like a year ago and I read the struggle I was going through and it's like, wow, back then that was something that was so big to me. But now I look at it, it's like, no, I can handle that now. But a year ago, it was so big and so tough and difficult. It's just really interesting to see how we perceive things, and how we view things. And it really helps us notice that we really are getting better. Or, this happened to me too. I read in my journal probably about 9 months ago of this struggle that I was having. And I thought for a second, wait a second, I still have the same struggle. Like I hadn't done anything about it. And in my journal, I had wrote down some ideas of what to do to solve this struggle, but I never did the actions. And so because I wrote it in my journal, I could go back and go, oh yeah, that's right. I totally forgot about this. So it's a great way to keep some record keeping of your ideas. And that's what takes us to this next spot. This next one is about writing down the solutions. While you're writing down your struggles and your thoughts and feelings and the events that are going on in your life, the good ones, the bad ones, write down about everything. As you have ideas come to you, don't just think about the ideas, write the ideas down. Because where you have what you're up against and you have the solutions written there in your journal, that could be a very powerful reminder to you down the road. And if a friend were to come to you and say that they had a struggle that was similar to yours, you could go back in your journal and find what it is you wrote down as the solution. And then you could share that solution with them. You see, journaling is not just about us and discovering ourselves and understanding ourselves. It really helps us be able to share with other people and help them through what they're going through. What the world needs is more people journaling. Because if you would journal and I journal and other people journal, then we're going to find solutions and solve challenges so we can move forward and have great experiences. But what happens is there's not very many people journaling. And there's a whole bunch of confused people, trying to figure out life. But if they would just journal, if they would only just journal, they could begin to understand what's got them into that situation, and they could start to look at it on paper and not try to sort it out on the inside of them. So if you got kids, see what you can do to get them to journal at least once a week about what goes on. My youngest son, we have him journal on Sundays. And he writes like this one little paragraph every Sunday. And he's been doing this now for a couple years. Not on his own. We as his parents, we just put the journal in front of him and say, okay, write about something that happened this week. The other day, he went to go write his weekly journal entry that was probably about that big, a couple sentences. And we caught him flipping back through the pages and laughing and reminding us of different things that have happened, the different events that had happened, the fun things him and his friends did. And we caught him flipping through his journal, and he just talked and told us all kinds of stories that was in his journal. And he was reliving these great moments. And he was also noticing how he thought a couple years ago and how much he's changed. And he would show me and say, Dad, look at this. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I thought like this and I wrote like this and I spelled like this. And he's like, wow, I've really changed in the last 3 years. It was really cool to see that. But every journal entry, he totally fights it. He doesn't want to do it at all. But let's you and I be the smart ones. Let's help our kids, help our spouses, and let's do what it takes here to have the best experience. Write down your thoughts and feelings. Write down all your great events and the things that are going on. And if you have struggles, write them down. And when you have solutions, write them down. You're going to find yourself being a better problem solver. And you're going to find yourself literally loving your life more. Because when we track what goes on in our life, it raises the value of our life. When we track what goes on in our life, it raises the value. And that's pretty cool. Okay, journaling doesn't have to be one of those big books. It can be just small little books you use to write down your thoughts and feelings that are going on in your life. And sometimes keeping a small journal, you can put it in your bag, put it in your pocket, keep it in your truck, or in the office, but someplace to keep information about what's going on in your life. But don't make it too complicated. Get something, write some things down, but start journaling today. If you want to have a great life, then track your life. And if you want to make sense of life, journal and track your life. It's going to make a huge difference for you. And now here at 3 Key Elements, we love to support people in improving their lifestyle. Now, subscribe. This is a great place to subscribe and be able to watch other videos that we have here for you to help you fine-tune your life. But definitely subscribe, and so you don't miss the next training video that I have for you. All right, start journaling.